I've finally begun development on my first game. Now, you may say, but War, you have made games before. Well, yes, but those games were free and not very good. This one is different. It's my first commercial project, and now the ball is finally rolling. I'm War, a game developer, and the stars have finally aligned for me. So I'm developing my first commercial game. It's called In Between. It's a 2D platformer about a man who can intercept and summon different versions of himself from other dimensions to help him achieve what he's after. Now, what is this video, you might say? Well, a devlog, which I'll do my best to deliver every week or so, to keep those who wish to accompany the development of this game updated on what's going on. This will be a more technical view about the development, at least in the beginning, so subscribe and follow me on Twitter to stay updated. Let's start. This week I started a project by implementing movement using Unity's physics system, which I've never actually used before, despite the fact that I've been using Unity for the past 4 years or so. I had completely written it off for 2D games, as I've always made my own physics engines, but those take a hell of a long time and they rarely end up working well. So I decided to give it a try, and as you can see, it works great. The movement is smooth and the jumping is dynamic. So next I worked on getting the camera working. Now it follows the player smoothly while keeping inside a boundary so it doesn't reach off screen. Then I decided, as this is a vertical slice, I'll be developing the controls for keyboard and mouse and controller simultaneously. So I got to work on that and hit a bit of a speed bump in that I was using the old input system, which is great for prototyping, but not for seamlessly switching between different control types. So I switched to the new input system, which is useful if not a bit bulky on the code side of things. It worked fine until it stopped working fine. Here's what happened. There are 2 actions the player can do, which I'll explain later, but these 2 actions are activated by holding their respective buttons. A third action can be accessed by holding the latter 2 actions at the same time. Now, the first 2 actions were easy to make, but the third, well, by holding the 2 buttons at the same time, it basically breaks everything. I fixed it by making the code for the third action myself, instead of relying on the input system, and it works great. I then started work on the main mechanic of the game, the alternate dimension controls. We'll call them shadows for now. You play as a shadow at first, and after the shadow will act on its own by repeating your inputs. For this I needed to make something to remember inputs. Thankfully the new input system offers that, except it leads to a memory leak, courtesy of Unity. Thanks to Dr. Pengloss in the Unity Discord for cleaning that up. As always, I'll have to make my own system from scratch, but I'll do that later. For now, I'll work on all the character mechanics first. Next, you can sneak now. And jumping into the item interactions, the player will be able to throw stuff. So I implemented aiming, except the fact that getting aiming from a controller is very easy, while getting it from your mouse is not very easy. As the input system gets so fixated on what the mouse is doing that it completely ignores everything else. Courtesy of Unity again. But in the end, I got it working by doing it myself. I'm noticing a pattern here. Well, it works. The friction got a bit wonky, but I fixed that too. Real simple. And basically this was it for the week. Next week I plan on finishing up the main mechanics to start work on the main mechanic. Hopefully I'll be able to. Check in next week to see the progress. Subscribe and follow me on Twitter to keep updated about the project. Also, feel free to join my community Discord to chat about game dev, pixel art, or the In-Between project itself. Until then.